Hi there, and welcome to Studio SN, your place for card making, rubber stamping, and paper crafting tutorials. My name is Sara Naumann, and I'm so very glad you're here. Today I want to share with you a quick and easy stencil, stipple, and tracing technique, which you can see I've used here on the background of my card. So these beautiful butterflies are just part of a stencil, which I've inked through and then added a little bit of black outlining on here for some definition. It's a great way to put your stencils to use and also a really fun way to get a unique background or even a focal element. So let's start first of all with our cardstock, and I'm working on a piece of smooth white cardstock, and I'll need to have a stencil on hand. So this is one of the stencils I've designed for PaperArtsy, and this is PS122. It's an all-over butterfly design, and you can see here that you've got lots of different sizes of butterflies. The fun thing about stencils, of course, is that you can use the entire design. You can also isolate out some of the design, a portion of it. And don't forget, with a lot of them, you can also flip them over and use them going the opposite direction. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So what I'm going to do is just pop down my stencil on top of my cardstock. And I want to sort of figure out which butterflies I want to have on here. And I think I'm going to go with a series of these butterflies down here in the center. So what I need to do is mask off some of the other butterflies that I don't want to be inky. So I'm just going to bring in some sticky notes and tack this down. It's going to help me hold on to those, hold on to the stencil, hold it into place as well. So I'll just pop this down here, and let's see, we'll get one over here as well. I tend to reuse my Post-it notes too, so don't feel like you are using them just one time. I have a lot of sort of half inky Post-it notes on hand. Okay, so I'm going to tack this one down here. So I've got my butterflies all isolated. I've got the rest of it masked off. Now I need to decide which inks I'm going to use. And today I'm going to be using two from Altenew. These are dye-based inks. I'm using Aqualicious and Teal Cave. So they're a light and a dark of the same beautiful teal. So I'll have those on hand. To get the color through, I'm going to be using a stippling brush. And you can use this technique with any of your foam applicators or your sort of pouncing tools that you may have from other inks. That will work perfectly as well. So I'm going to start with the Aqualicious because this is the lighter of the two colors, and I'm just going to pick up some color right from the ink pad, and I'm going to tap this in and sort of scuffle the brush around as well, and reload this from time to time too, so that I can make sure to get that color nice and vibrant through my stencil. So when I'm tapping this down, I'm also sort of swirling around. And the reason for that is because I want to get into the detail areas of some of the butterfly wings. This is why you want to use a tool like a stippling brush rather than simply taking the ink pad and pressing it through the stencil. You won't be able to get the detail areas of this particular stencil. It might work with some other designs that are a little bit less detailed. So it just kind of depends what you've got on hand, what you're working with. Okay, so we've got the first color down, the Aqualicious. So I'm going to come back now with the Teal Cave. And this is another nice darker color. So I'm just going to pop this down and add a little bit of definition there. You can do just one color if you want to. I kind of like having the combination of both. You can also use other color combinations too. A nice light yellow would also be pretty, kind of give a glow to the blue if you wanted to go with that. So now I have my stenciling done, and the next step in the process is going to be adding my pen work. Now I'm going to be tracing with a micron pen, and this is a 0.45 millimeter tip. So it's a really, really fine tip of pen. And I'm going to keep everything in place here and just trace around the outside edges of my butterflies. And I'm not worried about things being perfect, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm generally not worried about card making being perfect anyway, but this technique calls for some imperfection, so you can relax and not worry about getting perfect tracing. Okay, so I've got a little butterfly here and then one more. And I'm just allowing the stencil to sort of guide my pen around the outside edges and come in like so. And then what I'm going to do is lift the stencil straight up. You generally want to lift it up rather than sliding it off. And you can see I've got my beautiful butterflies on here. Now the next step in this is just to grab that pen and come along, and you're going to add some outline, kind of a doodly, sketchy outline around each of your butterflies. This is why you don't need to have those first lines being too perfect, because you're going to come around and add even more. So you can see I'm going around inside and outside of those lines, and this is just going to add a fun look to those butterflies, something a little more casual, I suppose. And then like so. Now the final touch is going to be adding a little bit of yellow to this as well. So I'm going to use a color spray. This is an Izink spray from Aladine, and this is the Aurora color, which is one of my favorites. Rather than spraying it though, I'm going to undo the top, tap off the excess, and I'm just going to hold the spray nozzle tube directly over my butterfly piece and just tap this. And this is going to give me a really pretty look of definition and some contrast on here as well. So I just need to let that dry, and then I'm ready to use it for my card. So let's take a look at the original card again. You can see here I've just simply mounted it onto black. I've added a stamped sentiment on here, and this is also from PaperArtsy. It's the Eclectica ESN33 stamp set, and it's this quote right down here. So once I've got this all put together, then I have my completed card. And again, it's a great way to put those stencils to use. Thank you so much for joining me today on Studio SN. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe to Studio SN on YouTube, and I'll keep you updated on the very latest stamping and card making videos. In the meantime, please feel free to stop by my website, saranaumann.com, for more paper crafting ideas. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next week.